So far we have studied the formation of a coordinate bond where one atom donates its electron to another atom accepts its electron. So they share a common pair of electron. So the head of the arrow indicates the acceptor atom, while the tail of the arrow indicates the donor atom, as we know. In this regard, we have studied the formation of NH3BF3 molecule in addition to NH4 plus molecule ion also. We have also distinguished the points of distinction between the double salt, ferrous ammonium sulfate, and the complex salt, that is the tetraamine copper second sulfate, CuNH3,4SO4H2O. Now we have started with the Werner's theory, which is very important from the coordination chemistry topic. As we have seen just now, that according to this theory, every metal or every metallic element exhibits two types of valencies, the primary valency and a secondary valency. Primary valency corresponds to the oxidation state. Secondary valency corresponds to the coordination number. Where primary valency is always shown by a dashed line, that is a ionizable valency. Secondary valency is always shown by a thick line, that is a non-ionizable or auxiliary valency, as we know. Second point that we have studied, that every metallic element tends to satisfy both of its valencies, that is the primary valency and the secondary valency. The primary valency is always satisfied by a negative ions, and secondary valency is always satisfied by a neutral molecule or sometimes negative ions also. So primary valency is satisfied by negative ions majority times, and secondary valencies are satisfied by neutral molecules or sometimes negative ions also. So I would like to give you some examples in this regard. So just see here these examples, which are very simple to understand. Now here we have seen that every metal or every metallic element tries to satisfy both of its valencies, that is primary valency and a secondary valency. Now here in this case, the cobalt is having the oxidation state +3. So oxidation state +3, which corresponds to the primary valency, and secondary valency should be exactly double. So this is a secondary valency which corresponds to the coordination number. So if you want to show this particular complex, then we can show this complex as like this: CONH3,6Cl3. So here Cl3 means the primary valency which corresponds to the oxidation state. This is a secondary valency which corresponds to the coordination number. So oxidation state is 3, coordination number is exact double. So this is a oxidation state and this is a coordination number. So oxidation state corresponds to primary valency and coordination number corresponds to the secondary valency. Now, based on this, we can again move further that here every element is characterized by presence of fixed number of, every metallic element is characterized by presence of fixed number of secondary valencies which corresponds to the coordination number. So if you take any metal, it has a fixed number of secondary valency, or in reverse, the secondary valency is always corresponds to the coordination number. For example, if we take for instance certain metal ions with respect to the secondary valency which corresponds to the coordination number. Now here metal ion, if we take for instance cobalt 3, this is the oxidation state, or if you want to write the oxidation number, it is a +3. The secondary valency or coordination number is exactly double, that is a 6. Another example, if you take for copper 2, it is a +2, which is also shown like this. So the secondary valency or coordination number is exactly double, that is a 4. Or take for instance silver +1 ion, oxidation state +1. The secondary valency is a double, that is a 2. So this is how every metallic element has fixed number of secondary valencies. So if oxidation state is 3, fixed valence is 6. Oxidation state is 2, fixed valence is 4. Oxidation state is 1, fixed valency, that is 2. So all these corresponds to the, all these values corresponds to the coordination number, which corresponds to the secondary valency. Now, in addition to all these cases, I would like to show you very important point of this topic, that is the secondary valencies have always a directional properties. The fourth point is that the secondary valencies have always directional properties. That means those can determine the geometry of the complex. So just by knowing the number of secondary valency, one can arrive easily at the geometry of the complex. This geometry can be assigned by the number and the position. Number and the position of the secondary valencies in the complex. Say for example, if a metal ion, if the metal ion has a coordination number 4, then it should have two possible geometries. One is a square planar, another is a tetrahedral. For example, square planar geometry, the example is just now we have seen CuNH3 4 2 plus. This is a square planar geometry. All the ligands are in one square plane, and tetrahedral is NiCl4. Here, this is looks like a regular tetrahedron. So the chloride ions are present at the four corners of a tetrahedron. On the other hand, if the metal ion has a coordination number 6, this is about coordination number 4. If the metal ion, if it is having coordination number 6, then the perfect geometry should be octahedral geometry. So for coordination number 6, the geometry is octahedral. So according to Werner, one can see that the combining capacity of a metal is considered in the form of spheres of the attraction. For example, how can we show a complex with coordination number 6? I would like to give you the complex is having. I am giving the same example for so many times because you should be very well familiar with this example, because this is the only example that we will come across this entire topic. This is a hexaamine cobalt plus cobalt chloride complex. Now here cobalt is a metal atom. Here this is a cobalt is a metal atom. I shall make a circle over this, and we have to show the secondary valencies which are having the directional property. So here the secondary valencies, this is a primary valency, this is a secondary valency. Now these secondary valencies that I would like to show you here like this. These are the ammonia molecules. 4 molecules I have shown here. The 5th at the top, 6th at the bottom. So I have shown the CONH6. What about the Cl3? Here the Cl3 can be shown as like this. Cl1, Cl2, and this is Cl3. Now here again I have to draw one circle so as to show the coordination sphere like this, and this is another circle where these are the chloride ions. So these chloride ions are shown by a dotted line. That means those valencies are ionizable. Ionizable, that is a outer sphere. This is known as a outer sphere. And these are the 6 molecules which is known as the inner sphere, which are known as the non-ionizable valencies. So whatever ions, those we have written inside this square bracket, this is square bracket, these valencies are non-ionizable, which are known as a secondary valencies, which are shown by a thick line, and these are known as a ionizable valencies, which are shown by a dotted line, which are ionizable. So this is how we have shown COCl3 6NH3 or CONH3 6Cl3. So this is outer sphere, that is known as a ionizable sphere. This is known as a field of, this is known as a field of primary valency, and this is known as a field of the secondary valency. These secondary valencies I have shown strictly according to the convention given by Werner, that is these valencies are to be shown by a thick line, that is a non-ionizable valencies, while chloride ions I have shown by a dotted line, that means those are ionizable valencies. So based on this, we can show certain applications of this Werner's theory. How can we apply this particular Werner's theory so as to study these primary valency and the secondary valency? Now, what are the applications? How the theory that is applicable to certain cobalt complexes, that is to be studied under the applications. These applications are very simple. Once you remember the 4 postulates, then it is very easy to understand the applications of this Werner's theory. Now, the theory that is applied to cobalt amine complexes. I'm going to show you certain cobalt amine complexes here. You will definitely understand the theory just by looking at all these complexes. First complex that I would like to show you here, this is a CO, this is CONH3, NH3, 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 and NH3. 6 ammonia molecules are there, and along with these are the 3 chloride ions which are also present. So this we can formulate as like this: COCl3 6NH3. This is the first. The second, where again we have to show the cobalt amine complex, cobalt as the center. These are the 4 ammonia molecules, that is the NH3, 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 and 5th ammonia molecule is present here. This is 1 chlorine dotted line, another chlorine dotted line. Still we have to show 1 more ammonia and 1 more chlorine. But here in this second diagram, I shall show a thick line as well as a dotted line, and I shall write here chlorine. I will give you explanation why this is like this. So this is, we can show this is as a COCl3 5NH3. Again 3 chlorine atoms are there, but 1 ammonia molecule that is replaced by a chlorine. Now based on this, I can show another cobalt amine complex like this. These are the 4 ammonia molecules which can be shown as like this: NH3, 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 4 ammonia molecules. 1 chlorine I have to show by a dotted line, and here again I shall show a thick as well as a dotted line for 2 chlorine atoms. So here the composition of this is a COCl3 but 4NH3. 1 ammonia molecule is again replaced by a chlorine, and one more structure that I have to show like this: cobalt at the center, first ammonia, then the second ammonia, this is NH3, this is NH3, and 1 more ammonia I show here. Now we have to show the 3 chlorides, but 1, this is 1 chlorine, then another chlorine, and the third chlorine. Here, what is the composition? How can we show the composition here? This is COCl3, no doubt, but the number of ammonia molecules are less, that is 3NH3. Now, look at all these complexes. In the first complex, all the three chloride ions are shown by a dotted line. You have to look very carefully here. In the second complex, only two chloride ions are shown by a dotted line, but the third chloride ion, which is by a thick as well as a dotted line. Third complex, where two chloride ions are shown by a thick and a dotted line, but only one chloride ion that is shown by a dotted line. And in the last complex, these three chlorides are shown by a thick as well as the dotted line. Now, as per the knowledge from the Werner's theory, we know that a dashed line that shows a ionizable valency, which corresponds to the primary valency of the metal, while the thick line is a non-ionizable, which is known as a secondary valency. Now, how can we distinguish that these are the three chlorine atoms which are easily ruptured or ionizable, and those ions which are shown by a thick line which cannot be ionized or they become non-ionizable? Now, say for example, if we add silver nitrate solution to this complex, so if we add a silver nitrate solution to this coordination complex, then here the product obtained is white colored product of silver chloride is obtained. That means thrice AgCl is obtained. This indicates that first chlorine, second chlorine, and third chlorine, those are ionizable, which corresponds to the primary valency, that is corresponds to the oxidation state of metal. So the formation or the precipitation of thrice silver chloride ions definitely indicates that these are the three chlorine atoms which are different from the ammonia molecules. These are the ionizable valencies. Now, come to the second complex, which is again a cobalt amine complex. Here, if we add silver nitrate solution, now look at this particular structure very carefully. Two chloride ions which are shown by a dotted line, while one chloride ion that is shown a dotted as well as a thick line. That means this chloride ion has to satisfy, the primary valency as well as the secondary valency of cobalt. So this has to perform a dual behavior of satisfying the primary as well as the secondary valency. For this purpose, I have shown a thick line for secondary valency and a dotted line for a primary valency. But here, as we have shown this by a thick line, so this chloride cannot be precipitated by the addition of silver nitrate. Here, only two silver chloride ions are formed. So those chloride ions which are precipitated due to addition of silver nitrate are in different environment. So these are the two chloride ions, first chlorine and second chlorine. They get precipitated because they are ionizable valencies, hence can easily form or precipitate with silver nitrate. Why this chlorine is not precipitated? Because this chlorine has come inside the coordination sphere. That means if we want to show, then we can show this is as like this: CONH3, Cl and Cl2. We can show this as like this. So whatever the ions that we have shown inside the square bracket, those are non-ionizable, corresponds to the secondary valency. So only these two ions are precipitated. Here, this is a CONH3, Cl3. The three chlorides are outside this square bracket. Those get easily precipitated by addition of silver nitrate. So here, when we add silver nitrate solution, then only those two chlorides are precipitated. Those are up away from this coordination sphere. So those are very loosely bound. Now come to this third complex. Here, if we add silver nitrate solution, then first of all, look at the chlorides. This is first chlorine, second, and this is third. What is the point of difference between these three chlorines? Here, one chlorine that is shown only by a dotted line, while the other two chlorine atoms, those are shown by a thick as well as the dotted line. That means here, these two chlorine atoms has to satisfy the dual role of satisfying the primary valency as well as the secondary valency. For this purpose, these two chlorides are not precipitated. So when we add silver nitrate solution, then here only one chlorine that gets precipitated. That is, this chlorine gets precipitated while these two chlorine atoms are remain unaffected because they have come inside the coordination sphere. How can we show? That is a CO, NH3, 4, Cl2, Cl. What this indicates that those two chlorides which have come inside the coordination sphere, they have to satisfy the primary as well as the secondary valency, and hence as these are non-ionizable valencies which are shown in a square bracket or inside a square bracket, so these chlorides they remain unaffected due to addition of silver nitrate. So only this chlorine gets affected and it can form only a precipitate of silver chloride. So here three chlorides, they are outside the coordination sphere, they get precipitated easily, which I have shown here. First chlorine, second chlorine, third chlorine. In the second case, what happened? One chlorine that has come inside the coordination sphere, which I have shown here. So those atoms which are inside the coordination sphere remain unaffected. They form a non-ionizable valency, and hence only these are the two chlorine atoms, those are precipitated. The third, where these two chlorides, they have to satisfy the role of the primary as well as the secondary valency. Only one chlorine that is outside the coordination sphere, so which I have shown here, and this gets precipitated in the form of silver chloride. Now, what is the reaction with the fourth amine complex? Here, this is a fourth amine complex. What will happen? So, if we add silver nitrate solution to the complex containing this, we can write as CONH3 thrice Cl3. So here, by addition of this silver nitrate, no reaction or no precipitation takes place. Why? Because in this case, the primary valency as well as the secondary valency, that is the primary valency of 3 and secondary valency of 6. So those valencies are satisfied by the secondary valencies by neutral molecules, that is the ammonia molecules. And here the primary valency of 3, that means here only 3 ammonia molecules are there. So the secondary valency that is satisfied by only 3 ammonia molecules, but it has to satisfy a remaining valency of 3, and this valency is satisfied by 3 chlorides. For this purpose, I have shown a dashed line as well as a thick line for these 3 chlorine atoms. So these are the 3 chlorine atoms. They do not precipitated in addition to silver nitrate solution. So this is how we can apply the Werner's theory to the formation of a cobalt amine complexes. So this is how we can understand what is a primary valency and a secondary valency. So we can move to the next part of this topic, and I would like to give you certain definitions and then we shall stop. Now there are certain descriptions of the important terms that we have to study, but you are very well familiar with all these terms because I have told you for so many times these are the terms. Now first term that I have to define is known as a ligand. What is a ligand? We know it is an electron rich species. It is an electron rich species which donates its electron to the central plus metal atom. So it is a bank of electrons which when it is possible, they give to the central metal atom. So any atom, ion or molecule which is capable of donating electrons to the central plus metal atom is called as a coordinating group. This is also known as a coordinating group of, or it is also known as a ligand. So these ligands, for example, ammonia is a ligand in case of, this is CONH3 6 3 plus. Here this ammonia can contribute its electron to the formation of these cobalt amine complexes. So it can coordinate with these amines. That means like this. This is a cobalt which is placed at the center, and I have shown again arrows from ammonia to cobalt. This indicates from ammonia nitrogen donates its electron pair to the cobalt. So all these are known as ligands, which are electron rich species. They give their electrons to for the coordinate bond. So these ligands may be sometimes positively charged. For example, nitrosyl ion or hydrazinium ion, and N2H4. These are the positive ligands, but which are less rarely. Then the negative ligands. Just now you have seen negative ligands. For example, chlorine is negative ligand. Fluorine, iodine, cyanide, hydroxyl. They carry a negative charge, hence are known as a negatively charged ligands. Or there may be neutral ligands are there. So how many types of ligands are there? A positive, negative, and a neutral. Neutral ligands, for example, ammonia molecules, the water molecules. So water molecules and ammonia molecules, they come under the neutral ligand. So ligand is an electron rich species which is capable of donating electrons to the central atom. Ligands are of three types. One is a positive, negative, and neutral ligands. Now, if the ligand contains only one donor atom, it is capable of forming only one coordinate bond with the central place metal atom. So this ligand is known as the monodentate. This ligand is known as a monodentate or unidentate ligand. For example, chlorine can form only one bond, hence it is known as a monodentate or unidentate ligand. Fluorine also form one bond. So all such ligands forming only one coordinate bond to the central metal atom are regarded as a monodentate or unidentate ligands. Now, there are certain other ligands. Those may be simultaneously with two or more atoms. For example, consider these are the two iron atoms. They can form the bonds with chlorine, that is a monodentate. But these two iron atoms, they also join together by these two chlorine atoms. These are known as a bridge ligands. So these are known as a bridging ligands. They form a bridge between two iron atoms. There is no direct linking between these two, but they do so through these chlorine bridges. So when the ligand contains more than one donor atom, which can simultaneously coordinate to a metal atom, then the ligand is referred to as multidentate or polydentate ligand. For example, what is a bidentate ligand? A bidentate ligand having two donor atoms or two donor groups. For example, ethylene diamine. Here, this ethylene diamine is a best known example of having two donor atoms. So NH2, CH2, CH2, NH2. So this is a ethylene diamine. Sometimes there may be three donor atoms may be there, that is known as a tridentate. If four are there, it is known as a quadridentate. So depending upon the number of donor atoms which are present, there can be unidentate, bidentate, tridentate or quadridentate ligands may be there. Now, what is a coordination number? Second definition, that is known as a coordination number, or this is also known as a legacy. This is known as a legacy. This is known as a legacy. The number of ligands which are directly linked with the central metal atom is known as its coordination number, that is known as a legacy. For example, if silver ion is there, its oxidation state is +1, its coordination number is 2, its complex is AgNH3 twice plus. So 2 is known as a coordination number. Another example I would like to give you, copper +2, the legacy is 4, double than this, that is CuH2O4 2 plus. So this copper can form a complex with 4 water molecules. The coordination number is 4. Then chromium, if its oxidation state is 3, coordination number is double, that is 6. So chromium can form its complex CrNH36 3 plus. So this is how for every metallic element there is a fixed legancy or coordination number, which I have shown. Now the third important terminology is known as a coordination sphere. What is the coordination sphere? Just now we have seen whatever ions goes we have right inside the square bracket, that is for example CONH6 3 Cl3. Here this is known as the coordination sphere. So what are the numbers? Those are we have written inside the square bracket. This is square bracket, that is known as a coordination sphere. So in simpler terms, how can we show a coordination sphere for the same complex? Say for example cobalt, then this is NH3 6. All this is known as the coordination sphere. We have to write this in the form of a square bracket and Cl minus. So here this 6 is nothing but the coordination number. Chlorine, this 3 is a oxidation state. Coordination number corresponds to the secondary valency. Oxidation state corresponds to the primary valency, and 6 molecules are referred as a ligands, and this cobalt is a metal. So see how many terms that we have studied here. This is a CONH6 Cl3. 6 is a coordination number 6, that is corresponds to secondary valency. Thrice chlorine corresponds to the oxidation state, that is the primary valency. Ammonia molecules are referred as a ligand. They can donate their electron pairs to the central place metal atom, and this entire part, that is a metal atom and the ligands, that is known as the coordination sphere. This is known as a coordination sphere. So you should be familiar with this word coordination sphere. So coordination sphere is nothing but whatever metal atom and the surrounding ligands which are written in a square bracket, that is known as a coordination sphere, and this entire part, that is referred as a complex ion. So what is a complex ion? A metal atom surrounded by a definite number of secondary valencies that corresponds to the coordination number, along with the primary valency corresponding to the oxidation state. All those in a nutshell are called as a complex ion. So this is how we have today finished the